Welcome in, everybody. I'm Joey, and I'm not joking when I say I got some super clean racing for you guys today. As the Lotus Elise is going to jump off the wall, and yeah, I'm going to pause it right there because I'm literally inside of a Lotus Elise. I've basically been decapitated. I couldn't see a thing. I'm into the Dodge Viper. I'm into the wall. I get smacked by another guy coming by. It is the worst possible start, but also the most likely Forza start of all time. It's Prague with 20 other people in the lobby. What did I really expect to happen here? We'll just have to turn this one into a from the back challenge, and there's no car better to do it in than the Saline. I've been seriously loving this thing, as we've got some more carnage here. Some guy into the wall on the left, more guys in the wall on the right. There's a smoke screen. The guy in the Maserati is going to get absolutely destroyed through the smoke, and then this Ferrari up here is going to do his best impression of Tony Hawk wall riding right there. Honestly, I'd give it a 10 out of 10. Not a really bad impression at all. At this point, my brain's just trying to compute what the fuck just happened. I was literally just in 19th place, and I'm already up into 11th. The Dodge Viper up here is going to go into the wall. He's going to cut across to get a better line out of the corner. And it kind of works out for him, but really dangerous there. I don't know how he didn't hit anybody. Coming into the tunnel of destruction now, I've got the run on the Lancer. I'm going to pull to the right side, easily get by him, and we're through the tunnel without crashing. Incredible. Imagine that. Well, you can't imagine it. You just saw it. And by the way, we passed that Viper, so we're up into 9th place. Not a bad deal. That can change pretty quickly, though. Coming through the chicane here. Prague is notorious for this chicane. There's always some major crashes in pretty much every single race at that chicane. So we got through it on lap 1 pretty okay. Definitely had to lift a bit there. I just wanted to make sure we got through it and stayed in the race. So not a bad deal for lap 1. Fast forwarding just a little bit at the start of lap 2 here. I'm going to eye up a move on the Ferrari, and it's going to get done pretty nice and easy. The power of the Saline just going to blow right by him on the straight, and we get that move done. Then skipping forward a little later on lap 2, going back through the tunnel again for the second time, passing this Porsche on the right side, but there's a Viper driving slowly that I nearly hit. He probably just got into it with one of these guys up front here, as I'm now engaged in a little battle with this Sunshine guy. So what a gamer tag. Props for the gamer tag, but I'm not going to let him off that easy. He was pulling away for just a second, but the power of the Saline bringing me right back up next to him. He gets the better of me going into the chicane, but the Ferrari's going to have a moment in the wall. Then the Dodge Viper comes up. I hit the fucking Porsche into the wall. We nearly went like 4 wide through the chicane there. Never is that a good idea. Then the Ferrari is going to have a cut up the inside. It's not quite going to work out for him. And then this guy up here, Omega, is going to slide back up into 6th place. So there was a chance there that I had 4th place within my grasp, and then it all went to shit. Skipping forward again to lap 3, taking the chicane for the final time. As long as I can get through here okay, I should have 6th place all wrapped up. I came insanely close to hitting that final apex there, and that meant I carried a lot of speed into that wall, but it doesn't put me off too much. Everything turns out okay, and that's going to be 6th place. I'd say that's not too bad for starting the first lap in 19th. What do you say we wander on over to Hockenheim here for a 4-lapper? We've got a GT40 up front, a BMW creeping up along the left side, but we're going to get through turn 1 okay, but at the end I receive a little bit of contact. That's going to push me onto the grass, and then I'm going to totally miss the first turn. I didn't realize this was the super short variation, and I was so focused on getting ahead of that guy that just put me off onto the grass. Then I totally lose it. I'm a noob. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. But that's 2 poor starts in a row, and I'm going to have to look to make a little bit of a comeback here again. But we're quickly up into 4th place. I think I dropped down to 6th after I just launched myself past turn 1. So I'd say we did pretty well on the damage control side of things. It definitely could have been a lot worse. I could have gone down into last place, so I'll take where I'm at right now. around the final 2 corners of lap 1 now, but it's really just one big corner is how I think about it, because you're really turning right almost the whole time. You might straighten the car out right in between just a tiny bit, but for the most part, you are taking a right pretty much that whole time. So I just like to think of it as just one big corner. You can see first place just extended the hell out of his line through turn 1, and I haven't really gained much on second or third either. Let's see if I can gain a little bit through turn 1, and at least I took it well. I didn't just blow past it this time on lap 2. This section of the track is definitely one of my favorites. If you have the balls to take this left-hander at a high speed, you're almost definitely going to close on the guys up in front. And I actually closed the gap so much that I'm into the back of the Ford GT, which gives the Ferrari behind me the opportunity to make a move. It's not quite going to work out for him though, and we're just going to settle back into our original position. But the Ford GT is going to leave space on the inside of turn 5 there, and then the Saleen, the other guy in the Saleen, and the orange one, is just going to absolutely destroy that Lambo and take him off into the sand, which puts me right up into first place. I don't like seeing the dirty plays, but I do love it when it puts me into first place. So as long as I'm not involved, fuck it, hit anybody you want. And I was able to hold first place there for the final lap. I did get a little squirrely through these last few turns, and the Ferrari was right on my ass pretty much the whole time, but he never had the chance to make a move, so that's going to be your first place, baby. After making a fool out of myself at turn 1, this one definitely feels pretty good, and that's going to be a Miller Lite Shoey. That's right, we're bringing it back. Let's go. And last but not least, heading over to good old USA, Circuit of the Americas for the final race. This was a really fun one, definitely my favorite race of the week. This guy in the Ferrari, the green one right up ahead, Frodo Laggins, he definitely wins the award for greatest gamer tag of all time, and he's also a really quick driver. That Ferrari is insanely quick, and that'll be showcased here in just a second once we get onto the straight. You might have seen a little bit of it right there at the start, but it gets a lot better. So I was able to secure second place through the S's, and I can focus on trying to close the gap to first place now, which I'm able to do pretty easily. And this is where I start to get my first understanding of how this race is going to go. Because I was able to close that gap so quickly, I can assume with a pretty high level of certainty that this car, the Ferrari, is going to be really quick on the straights. And we're going to see that in action right now. So coming around the hairpin, I've got the handling, so I'm going to grab first place from him. And then that indicator in the bottom left is just going to go flying right by, and he is going to rocket basically a second and a half ahead of me in one straight. It's at this point that I am literally shitting my pants. He went from being maybe 50 feet behind me to the smallest speck on my screen that I could imagine. So I am a little scared, but I'm immediately able to start closing that gap through the turns here. And coming through one of my favorite turns at any track, this little like double chicane hairpin thing. I don't even know what to call it. I'm sure there's a name for it. I could probably look it up, but I'm on Frodo Laggins' ass now, and I know I've got the handling advantage, so I'm going to try it around the outside, and I just get it done. So I'm going to pull over to the right side to take a nice line into the left-hander here. So through the penultimate corner, pretty nice, and I've actually built up a bit of a gap there. Coming through the final corner now, taking that really nice, hitting the apex and accelerating out of the corner. Taking a look behind me because I know the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket is coming right through. I'm still amazed at that thing. I'm gonna have to give it a try. I might make a video on it because that thing is just so damn quick. So he grabbed the lead back, but unlike lap 1, I am now right behind him, and I don't have to fight with third place. Approaching turn 3 now, Frodo is going to take a very, very narrow line, which is going to give me the wide open opportunity to slide up right into first place and take the lead of the race. I do go pretty wide coming out of turn 5 and into turn 6, but I managed to maintain my position, still keep in first place. But I know what's coming up. The straight is almost here, and I know exactly what's going to happen. So, again, I just have to focus on building that gap as much as I can through these final corners here, because once we get through this hairpin here and onto the straight, we know he's blowing by us. Taking a quick look at the race positions in the bottom left, he actually got overtaken for a short second right before he got onto the straight, but quickly grabs second place, even more quickly grabs first place for me, and just like that, we're back to step one, and I have to overtake him through the corners again. I'm definitely gaining time under braking, which I would expect, especially with these power-oriented tunes like in this Ferrari here. When there's so much power, you'd expect the brakes to suffer a little bit, especially when there are these older cars too. The brakes tend to not be as good or up to par. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to make my move through my favorite corner up the inside of the Ferrari. He's going to come back at me on the inside. We make a little bit of contact, but it doesn't unsettle me too much. I maintain control of the car. It did push me a little wide, but nothing too bad. I'm feeling a little bit of deja vu with lap 1. We made that same move around the outside of that long right-hander on lap 1. So if that's how lap 3 ends up, I'm going to be happy with that, because I know if I build up a big enough gap, I can accelerate down the straight to the finish line and get there before Frodo does in his Ferrari. So we're going to look to try to make that happen on lap 3 here. Into turn 1, I don't end up going defensive. He's going to take advantage of that and slot up my inside. I'm going to go around the outside and get the inside corner for turn 2 here and into the S's, maintaining the lead, and I know this is my opportunity to extend it as much as I possibly can. So coming through the S's really nicely actually. But just like before, out of turn 5 and into turn 6, the back end gets a little loose and I'm wide, and that's going to allow Frodo to start closing that gap. And props to him for keeping control of that thing, because I guarantee you it is an absolute handful. Making our way over the crest and down the hill into the hairpin. I'm happy that I'm in first place, but I know I don't have nearly as big of a gap as I did last lap. And to make matters worse, I accidentally shift down into first gear while I'm turning into the hairpin. That unsettles the back of the car, and it's going to do that every time. It was a major mistake. There goes Frodo flying right by, and that invites the ACR guy behind me to get a little bit closer and kind of brings him into this race and into the battle for first place. This is definitely not the ideal situation that I was envisioning, but it's the cards I was dealt, and to be honest, I put myself in the situation with that big mistake, so I need to get myself out of it, or at least see it through. So coming around my favorite turn for the final time, going deep so that I can meet the second apex and accelerate out with as much power as I possibly can. Getting closer to Frodo now and coming around the long right-hander where I've been successful in making a move the past couple laps. Is it going to happen on this one? Not quite. He's going to cover off the inside, go a little defensive. I move to the outside. Contact from the Ferrari behind. I'm still alongside the Ferrari in front though. The F50 is going to make an unexpected lunge up the inside. I'm going to run him as narrow as I possibly can and get on the accelerator. And it looks like I'm going to keep second place. That's going to be the race and the video, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everybody.